Business Brain, episode 549 for Casual Wednesday, May 15th, International Family Day 2024. Greetings, folks, and indeed, welcome to Business Brain. We're the show where we take a few ideas, we crunch them together, we dissect them together so that we can use them together to tune our business brains together each and every week. Our sponsor for this episode is LinkedIn Jobs, where you can go to linkedin.com/businessbrain and post your first job for free. I've used it. I love it. We will talk about it a little bit more later. For now, here in Durham, New Hampshire, I'm Dave Hamilton.
And still out here in Northern California, I'm Shannon Jean. Great to have it super duper family day a couple days after Mother's Day. That's pretty good.
Yeah, that's right. That's International
smart.
Family Day. Yeah,
that's
sure.
That's fantastic.
I like it.
I do too. That's great to have LinkedIn sponsoring us again. They're back a couple times.
Yeah. Yes, it's been a little while, but yeah, it's good to have them back.
We had some great comments up there in the last Friday's episode. We talked about how to get sponsors for your podcast if you're in the podcast business. That was great. I had a bunch of people reach out, ask some questions, so make sure you listen to that episode. But today
I will put a link in the show notes for that. Yeah,
that's perfect. I want to talk, before we get into our main topic, which we're going to talk about global talent, I want to talk about this, what I'm calling snowball decision-making. And let me give you a description. I'm curious on your take on it. So I have a coaching client that I'm working with, great guy, run into some issues with a few different government agencies that he's kind of behind on some payments and different things, and trying to figure out the best way to move forward, to get caught up and to call and reach out and get these things situated. And my take on it is to start with the smallest one first, because it gets you some experience, it gets you flexing your muscles of calling and trying to talk your way through it and getting your story right, even though you know your story, but you might be nervous.
Yeah, your delivery of your story, right.
Your delivery. I love it. Yeah. What's going on? Why I miss these payments? I want to do the right thing. I need to make them up, and I'm ready to work out like a payment plan. If you act in good faith, in my experience, every government agency, federal or state, if you owe them money, they will work out a system to get your money. They want your money. And if you don't have it all at once, they will work with you to pay them over time. Yes, you will pay interest. You might pay some penalties, but these people would rather have your money than have, some more problems for you, which turns into more problems for them. Yeah. So I suggested, I just made that because his question to me was like, who do I call first? And I said, well, pick the smallest number that you're the least intimidated by and call. And I guess that's kind of the thing, talking through this now, that I guess where I got this snowball thing is that Dave Ramsey, he does the same thing with debt. He calls it the debt snowball. Yep. Start with your smallest debt and pay it off. I'm just curious if you thought that using it on the other side from a business perspective, if you think that's, a good system.
Well, yes, I do, except when it comes to government agencies.
Okay. How come?
Every bit of advice I've ever gotten is they will use what you say against you. What you have said is correct.
Okay.
Right? You are absolutely right that if you approach them the right way anyway, and tell them, I know I owe you money, I can't pay it all at once, or I want to pay, whatever it is. Like, everything you said is right. I would work with my accountant to do that, though.
Yeah, I made that suggestion to this.
I would pay an accountant to do it, because the IRS treats you differently when you have an accountant, and they will, if you don't have your delivery, like you said, your story is your story, but if you don't have your delivery perfect and you don't have experience delivering those stories to the IRS, everything I have heard says to get an accountant, a certified, like a CPA.
I like that advice. Yeah.
Yep. To do that.
Maybe you can listen in on the call or something, but I do like that. Yeah, absolutely. I like the idea of having a representative call for you. Yes. Because your point is dead on. If you say the wrong thing, and you don't want to you don't want to say the wrong thing. They're going to look into you. If you say, all I can afford is to pay $2,500 a month, they're going to find out if that's all you can afford.
That's correct. That's
so
right.
You want to be careful how you represented it. I do like the idea. I still like the idea of starting with the smallest amount.
I think that's a good idea. Yeah.
Yeah, to get the process going.
Yeah.
But I do recommend having your accountant, maybe an attorney or somebody, reach out on your behalf. If you've dealt with this before, share your tips, feedback at businessbrain.show so we can share with everybody here these things. I will give you one little more bit of advice. If you do make the call and you get kind of a nasty person on the line, just hang up and call back.
All right, folks. Hiring the right team is like finding the last puzzle piece for your business. It just clicks. And guess where I found our social media wizard, Sadie? That's right, on our sponsor, LinkedIn Jobs. She's been with us for over 3 years, turning posts into gold and tweets into treasures and helping us to promote and grow the show. Now, you might think LinkedIn is just another job board, but let me tell you, it's the secret clubhouse where the best talents hang out. It's not just about who's looking. It's about who's perfect for your team, even those not actively hunting for a job. Over 70% of LinkedIn users aren't scouring other job sites. So if you're not searching there, you're basically playing hide and seek with a blindfold on. And the magic doesn't stop there. Did you know 86% of small businesses snag a qualified candidate within 24 hours on LinkedIn? That's faster than I can find my car keys most of the time. LinkedIn knows you're juggling a million tasks, so they've made it super easy. They even help craft your job description. It's like having your very own HR assistant who's also a mind reader. That's pretty cool. So if you're looking to grow your team with top-tier talent and maybe find your own Sadie who will skyrocket your social media game, head over to LinkedIn Jobs. Join the 2.5 million small businesses who trust LinkedIn to find not just any professional, but the right one. Post your job for free at linkedin.com/businessbrain. That's linkedin.com/businessbrain to post your job for free. Terms and conditions apply, and our thanks to LinkedIn Jobs for sponsoring this episode. All right. You are doing a little bit of hiring, Shannon, or you posted on X at least about something. Yeah, talk about it.
So, I would love to talk about this. So, this term global talent is really popular online, at least up on X, hiring, assistants and everything in other countries. Yep. Not only do you, I think initially it was all about saving money, but I think now that's certainly part of it, but it's gone beyond that too, as far as getting qualified applicants to help you out. Yeah. And so I'm hiring a person to help me, like a content manager, if you will, not to create content for me, but to help manage I don't have a problem making the content. I have a problem distributing the content.
Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah.
Yeah, the follow through. So I need help, someone that's organized, someone that's familiar with, social. I'd like to have all the content I create on X, I'd like to have it on LinkedIn as well. But I'm just not super motivated to go put it up there every time. I start and then I stop and I start.
Yeah.
And then
I totally get that. Right? Yes.
Yep. And, X gives me instant gratification. So it motivates me to give feedback and I make great connections there, where LinkedIn's a little more, takes a little bit more time to get feedback, but it's certainly valuable.
It's a longer response curve.
Longer response time. Yeah. And at the same time, I've got a significant amount of people that have subscribed to my newsletter. And the only problem is I have no newsletter. So I need to, grow that. So anyway, I'm trying to hire this person, did a little bit of research. I've hired, they used to call it offshore talent or virtual assistant, which I think,
I don't like that term.
Yeah.
I presume these people I'm hiring, regardless of where they're located, are real people. They're not virtual people. They're just remote.
You got it.
That's it.
Yeah, exactly. So I've done that before, but now, there's a number of agencies out there that will, and I guess they've been there for a long time, but I think there's been a bloom of new ones that'll kind of hold your hand, walk you through it, represent how it's going to work. And so I picked this one company called Pavago, and we'll put a link in the show notes. And it was pretty cool. So I walk you through how it worked. They kind of gave me a rundown. It's Pavago, PAVAGO.co is the thing. And they do an interview with you. What do you want? What do you need? What's your business? What do you hope to achieve? How do you define success? And then they go out and find, people, and they interview them. And then what I really liked is I got to watch the interview after. They set it up, had their rep going through the interview, talking to these folks. And then after that, I could pick them out, go through, hey, this is who I want to talk to. This is who I don't. So I picked a couple, did my own interviews. And this is where it got a little tricky, because I had two prospects. One was very experienced, had done this kind of thing before, liked to work autonomously, which is great. All those things that are important.
Yep.
But the second prospect didn't quite have all the experience exactly related to what I'm doing, but seemed a lot more organized. And I think that my gut instinct was that's what I probably need more help with. And so I posted up on X. I said, hey, here's the breakdown, just like I described. Who should I hire? And 99% of the people came up and said, hire prospect number one, because she's got the experience.
I want to add one of the things, because I commented on this post. Yeah. And one of the things that in your post you said about prospect number two was that they self-identified as a workaholic.
Yes.
And to me, that was the big red flag, especially with a, remote assistant, whatever, largely because I've found that many of these people wind up picking up many jobs.
Oh, yeah. That's a good point.
And that can be...
That would be what you would... Of course you would want many jobs, right? Wouldn't that be...
Right.
Shouldn't I just assume that that's what they're doing?
Well, it depends. Are you hiring them by the hour? Like, are you hiring them full time?
I'm going to pay them a salary, and I'm going to have KPIs. Then they meet certain benchmarks. They can get a bonus.
Yep.
And I get it. And maybe I should have added some nuance when that came up when I said how I'm really focused on outputs. Right. We talk about that all the time. Yeah. I don't. If they're able to get all the stuff we want done in less time, that's okay. So I think I was mentioning it in some kind of about working autonomously. It's like, look, I want to give you direction. I want you to go, and I want to get these things done on a certain timeline.
Sure.
And that's when they said, oh, well, I like working like that. I'm a bit of a workaholic. I'm going to work and get everything done. And I could see how that's a red flag. So I listened to all the comments up there, and the consensus was overwhelmingly
hire somebody with the skills. Yeah.
Yeah. But so I talk about my gut instinct all the time. So, and I went against the consensus. I hired number two today.
Got it.
We'll have to see how it works. Cause of
course.
Yeah. And I'll keep it, I'll keep everyone posted here, because I made that choice because I just think I need somebody that's more administratively strong than creatively strong. And I'm hoping that person keeps me on task more.
My only hesitation is that there are tricks, skills, whatever you want to call them, to the social media game. And if somebody doesn't have that, that might be a pretty big hill for them to climb.
And one of the great things I love, like working with this agency Pavago, is I'm paying a subscription, and anytime I want to swap this person out, if it doesn't work out, I can do it. Now, the question I have is, how do I keep number two? Ideally, I'd hire them both. I'd hire this organized person to be, I love this term that's thrown around a lot, my chief of staff. That's the,
sure.
I love seeing that out there. So then the creative person down below, but I can't do that right now. It's too much for me.
It's too much.
Yeah. So I'm going to reach out to this prospect number two and, hey, look, that I'm going to go with this route.
What hours are they going to, where are they located?
Pakistan. They work my hours.
I was going to say, well, they work
Pretty
your
much.
hours. Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
for the stuff that we need to. I'm flexible. Like if you're just organizing and building things, it's okay with me. You don't have to be doing it, when I'm there. But
yeah,
as far as communication-
I'm curious how this works out because I've done a lot of this.
Yeah, I've done a few
and
times
I have
too.
found for contract type work, the offshore stuff has been great, right?
Yeah.
When hiring full time, there's a reason I use LinkedIn to hire Sadie because
Yeah, that's right.
we had
Sadie's
had
awesome.
people like her with a different business that I have that we had used a service like you're discussing here, and it was a freaking nightmare managing these people.
I think it can be.
So and we'd had a couple of them, and it was like, all right. So when it came time to hire Sadie, it was like, well, I'm going with LinkedIn Jobs. Yeah, I want to hire somebody that's here in the United States, that understands how to communicate because they're going to be doing communication on your behalf, and so that's living in the culture. I have found it's a really. I mean, I'm curious to see how this goes.
Me too. That's why I'm bringing it up because I love building in public, and we'll see how it turns out, whether I made the right choice or not.
Mm-hmm.
But if I've had it work out really well, but in the past, and I've had it be disastrous from a standpoint of it is tougher to get the someone who's not in the here in our culture, get them to understand the business processes and the whys behind it. They're often phenomenal at the tactics,
whatever the skill is. Yes,
the tactic, getting that done. But from a strategy point, no. So I'm hoping, and I haven't hired anybody like this in probably about 10 years. So I'm hoping that it's different. And this person is very highly educated and super intelligent. So we'll just have to see whether. Because like I said, I have no problem creating the content. That's what I do all day. I'm writing, I'm doing stuff.
Yeah, but every platform needs a different voice. Every platform, it's the nuance. Yeah, it's exactly.
Nuance. Yeah. And I'm optimistic that it's going to work. We're going to have to see. I'm going to report back.
I mean, you're probably right. It's probably fine.
It's an experiment.
Yeah.
And it's a 90-day probationary period as we work things out. And then I put, certain KPIs in there, try to build. The number one thing is if in the next 90 days, I'm able to get this newsletter launched, template it out, take my existing content and repurpose it for the newsletter and continue to build that out. That'll help me with
that's success.
I'm building a funnel to bring people to me that value my experience for my coaching business. So I mean that's what we're ultimately trying to do, but I want to do it in a warm way. I don't want to go out and cold, the thought of trying to build clients that way is good. So if you've had experience using people like this, feedback at businessbrain.show, share it with us so we can share it with everybody here and help each other build.
Yep. Like he said, feedback at businessbrain.show. And let us know. We like to hear from you. We've got some feedback coming in on the Friday episode, so we'll discuss that. We'll use it to tune our business brains. Until then, keep living that charmed life, and we'll see you on Friday.